Welcome back to DBS and the DFL studio. I'm with Beverly John from Viewfort Children's Society and Beverly Ann Poyot from New Beginnings Transit Home for Children. Quick reminder of the giveaways tonight: to win a live plant of your choice. Name the 5 well-known women that we showed you earlier. To win a gift in a balloon, answer this. Tell us where Vows Plus showroom is located and with which other company they share their space. Hint, look at Facebook. To win a cake, tell us where Tabs Cakes is located. Again, look online or in the directory. To win a spa treatment from Touch Therapies, tell us where Touch Therapies is located. To win a MAC gift box for Mum, answer this question. Last year's Viva Glam spokesperson was Lady Gaga. Who are the current faces of the campaign? To win a pair of shoes from DFL, name 3 DFL sponsors. 1 must be the company that we provide to get the shoe from, and 1 must be an insurance company. Tonight we're talking about children in St. Lucia who aren't being taken care of the way that they should be. And with me I have Beverly John, who is the founder and chairperson of the Viewfort Children's Society, and also I have Beverly Ann Poyot, who is the acting manager of New Beginnings Transit Home for Children. Beverly, tell us a bit about the society.
Well,
and yourself as well, of course, and the background and everything.
Well, the background of the society came from persons in Viewfort. One particular person, manager, proprietor of the Reef, was asked to foster or adopt a child, and it was given her where she lived and worked. She really could not do that, and it came up with the idea, well, why don't we look at building a children's home? That's before I came onto the scene. I was working at the Division of Human Services at the time, and there was a site visit that was planned. I didn't know who had planned this site visit, and given my responsibility as managing child and family services, I really needed to know, if persons are going to build a children's home, we need to make sure that these persons were suitable for the task, and I wanted to know where this home would be. So I invited myself along to the visit and introduced myself to everyone, much to my, I'm not sure whether I should say
you started
and got to the process that I attended meetings and got to the point of decide, not just on my own, with the group. There was about 12 persons at the time, and we decided that instead of just wanting to build a children's home, let's make it into a reputable organization, become registered, become an NGO, and then get funding, because we thought it would be impossible to get funding if we were not registered, because persons had to know where their money was going to be going and what is going to be done to it. So we wanted persons to be able to trust us, and also that we could be accountable, and only through registration. So it came up the Viewfort Children's Society, because we all were from Viewfort and we wanted the home to be in Viewfort, but serving the children of southern St. Lucia, particularly because there was no such place in the area, and there were many children at the time that were in need of care and protection and had to be left in the environment because there was no place for them.
Thank you very much for that, and we're going to go into that a bit more a little later, but Beverly, tell us a bit about you and the role that you play at work.
Okay, I started off as a probation officer some 18 years ago. So at that time I really worked with teenage children, mostly boys at the time, and from there I moved to the Boys Training Center and then back to Human Services, and now in the new post at the Transit Home for Children. So basically I've worked with children and their families for all of my working career. As the acting manager of the children's home itself, the transit home itself, is a fairly new institution, just about maybe 16 months, and so there are still some teething pains, but our main purpose is to help those children who have been abused, severely abused, to help them in terms of rehabilitation, and to help their families also to come together and to see how they, the families, can support those children, because eventually those children will be reintegrated with their families, not necessarily their parents, but possibly with some other family member.
Now that all sounds really good, and you know it's what should be happening.
Yes,
But
definitely.
unfortunately, we hear other stories. It
Yes.
starts that way, but then it seems as if sometimes the children are returned to the same places where they are being abused. But before we go into that, I mean, I'd like perhaps, Beverly, if you can say to answer for us, when you say a child is being abused, what is that? What's the definition of abuse?
It is a very broad definition. There are many types of abuse. The one which we tend to think of first is sexual abuse. And sexual abuse in and of itself can come in many forms. Something as simple as showing a child pornographic material, whether it is from a magazine or on television, can be considered sexual abuse. It is not just the physical act of having sex with a child, and a child is defined as anybody under the age of 18. And so that is the one that is foremost in our minds when we speak of abuse. But we have things like physical abuse, where a child is beaten, and sometimes it is to the detriment of the child, in that the child ends up with broken bones, hospitalized, and this one is again very obvious. There are other instances where it is more subtle, where you have psychological abuse, where and emotional abuse, which are very much intertwined, and that really is an emotional burden for the child, carrying all of this inside, because psychological and emotional abuse tend to be the form of abuse which the child does not readily speak about, but rather the child manifests through their behavior.
Beverly, is there anything that you want to add on that? I mean, that's very thorough, thank you. But Beverly, is there anything else you'd like to add on that in terms of the definition of abuse?
Just to say that the emotional and psychological abuse comes with all forms of sexual abuse and physical abuse. Whilst we can see the physical abuse is like a physical act and cause harm to the child, it also has some emotional and psychological damage, and a lot of persons don't realize that. Sexual abuse encounters a lot of secrecy, threats, and also it encounters emotional abuse as well. So when a child is abused in one area, you cannot discount the other areas of abuse also. And one that persons tend not to think about is neglect, which is also a form of child abuse, where persons fail to send the child to school, or take the child out of school to do message, or fail to give the child medical attention, failure to provide food. Sometimes persons use withholding food as a form of punishment. That should never be done, and it's actually abusive to do that.
And is there a track in terms of, are you able to know who these perpetrators are? You know, is it more likely going to be a family member, or is it going to be a friend? Is it more likely to be someone the child knows?
Often, most forms of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, abandonment, are often by somebody the child knows. There are the rare occasion and some occasion where you'll get stranger abuse, but more often than not, it's usually somebody within the family or within the community, close family friend, uncle, aunt, some form of a relative of the child.
I mean, we're talking about it, and I'm already feeling a bit. I'd like to go to a break, but I want to leave you with this. I think it's very tough emotionally to work with children, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a parent, whether you're doing happy things.
Yes.
But when you have to deal with working in the area that you're both working, I know someone has to do it, and I'm sure both of you are very caring people, but it must be heartbreaking at times. And when we come back from the break, I'd like you to describe what it feels like for you working in this area.
Okay.
This is the Law Factor Live. What we want to do is, I'm sure you know the questions that we asked you. I just want to remind you, do not give us any answers for the restaurants. We've closed that. But here's a quick reminder of the giveaways tonight. To win a plant or something similar to what we have on set tonight, name the 5 well-known women who we showed before. To win a gift in a balloon, answer this: where is Vows Plus showroom located, and with which other company does it share the location? To win a cake, tell us where Tats Cakes is located. To win a spa treatment from Touch Therapies, tell us where Touch Therapies is located. To win a MAC gift box for Mum, who are the current faces of Viva Glam? And to win a pair of shoes from DFL, name 3 DFL sponsors. 1 must be the sponsor who provided the shoes, and 1 must be an insurance company. This is DBS, of course, and Dolor Factor Live. We'll be right back.